Greetings, awesome crew of waste not warriors. I'm Mandy Wildman, and today we're going to make some flumpy-wumpy, one-of-a-kind pantaloons using some thrifted and thoroughly washed pajama bottoms. Cotton or flannel is my favorite to use. We're going to be transforming boring nightwear into amazingly disobedient daywear together, so settle in and rock on. I chose these PJ pants because although they've been well loved, they're still sturdy in all the important places. So, first things first, cut off the bottoms of the pants. How much you cut off is up to you. I know how tall, or actually short, I am, so I measured about 20 inches down from the crotch, knowing I would be adding back about 5 to 6 inches at the bottom. Set aside these cut off pieces because you're going to need them later, trust me. Now, ransack your scrap stash. What? For some pieces of fabrics or trims, lace, or whatever that you think would work with the colors in your pants. Now, I don't want you to overthink this process, okay? Perfection is overrated. We are the waste not warriors, remember? We're doing this for the planet. Okay, moving on. You're going to measure the width of the bottom of the pants leg and double it to get the circumference. So if your pants legs are 12 inches across at the very bottom, then your number is going to be around 24 inches. But wait, you have 2 legs, right? Okay, so we're going to double that number to 48 inches. Now, our ruffles are going to be about double the circumference of the pants legs, right? So let's double that number again to get the total length. In our case, that's going to be 96 inches total. Make sure you're going to have enough of your ruffle fabric and trim for both legs, with the second layer a little shorter than the first layer, and so on. Then sew the ruffle layers together along the top edge. To make the ruffles, I put my stitch length on the widest setting, which is for me 4, and then I crank up my tension to about 8 or 9, leaving plenty of length of thread at the beginning, no backstitch, and at the end, and then I let it rip. This is magic ruffle sorcery, friends. Next, pin the center of your ruffle to the inside seam of your pant leg, and pin the 2 ends of the ruffle, one each side of the outside seam. Ease out the gathers so that they're even and pin them in place. Now, I like to sew the ruffles to the wrong side of the pants for a bit of extra shabbiness, but you can do a more neat finish by putting right sides together. It's totally up to you. Now to add your trim. I added a layer of vintage lace that I had lying around, followed by a layer of bobbly black trim that someone gave me. Okay, ready for some pocketses? I am. Now, where did you put the pieces you cut off the pants legs? Go find them, we're going to need them. So I cut my pockets about 7.5 inches by about 8.5 inches. Sometimes I turn under the sides and press them, and sometimes I don't bother. This time I cut the edges with some pinking shears to make it look more raggedy. More raggedy. Now, whenever I find some of this bias tape is what it's called at the thrift store, oh, I prance around with joy. I love this stuff. It's cut on the bias, which is against the grain of the fabric, and it makes marvelous, say it with me, ruffles. I happened to dye a bunch of this the same time as I dyed the main ruffle fabric, so it's a beigey, pinky, peachy, creamy, browny cacophony of deliciousness, also known as... So remember what we did before? Just measure the total of 3 sides of your pockets and double that number. And then double it again if you want 2 pockets. I almost always do. Then ruffle your little heart out, pin it onto your pocket piece, and stitch. In order to attach your pocket to your pantaloons, you're going to need to jump through a couple of little tiny hoops, and here they are. Number 1, mark where you want your pockets to be. Number 2 of the tricky part, you're going to unpick or seam rip the side seams by about 15 inches right where you have your pockets placed, just enough to be able to sew on your pockets. Next, turn your pants inside out and pin your pockets where you've marked them where you want them to be. Now, sidle up to your sewing machine and slide the pocket under the presser foot, like so. Finagle the position of the pocket so you can stitch it on, and go! Then when you're done, stitch the side seams back together. Oh my goodness, we're nearly done. Just a bit of frou-frou to do. Now, with the extra pieces of the 1.5 inch wide bias tape I didn't tell you about, we're going to be making some flumpy fabric flowers. Ooh, yeah! My scrap was about 36 inches long, so I cut it in half and ruffled both pieces just like I showed you before. Leave long tails of thread at each end for your pleasure and convenience when creating the flower. Just gather and wrap it in a circle until it pleases you, and then thread a strand of your leftover thread to secure it by hand. Ooh, the buttons! Did I tell you about those? Aren't they so cute? Oh my God, then I found a piece of random black velvet ribbon and I added it to the flowers because I had to, right? Then, ignoring all concept of time management, I found a Sharpie and I decided to put little dots all over the flowers because shiny. After that, I hand sewed the flowers into the place where the ruffles meet or not meet at the side, securely and proudly, because I was done. Done, I tell you. Woohoo! Hey, I've had so much fun hanging out with you beautiful creators today. It's been a total blast. Now, I'm definitely going to be making more upcycled clothing videos like this one. So can you let me know in the comments what you'd like to see me make? Thanks a bunch. See you next time.